well, that's a very small cave. Okay, good morning. I am recharged, the battery's recharged, and I'm ready to go up and finish off the rest of this tower by putting in that little voltage converter. And one of the things I didn't mention yesterday, or earlier on, was when I was doing the second run back up the hill, my InReach, so I had it set, for tracking and everything, and so that I can send a message if I need, help or anything. I had that on my belt, and the little clippy clip slipped off, and so it ended up sort of at the top, sort of near the gumbies, and I got alerted to that by my watch beeping and saying, lost connection with InReach. Now I was all loaded up like a pack horse, hauling the gear, and I heard it and just went, nah, I'll come back and get it. And it suffered a little bit of damage, not a lot. There's a couple of scratches and stuff on it. The screen's okay. I did have a cover on it, like a little silicone cover, but the issue I had with that cover was it would sort of interrupt with the spot where that clips on, so where the clip is. So that's a little annoying, but yeah, it doesn't seem to have that issue at all on the chest rig, and then also on this backpack or day pack. So yeah, I'm on my way back up the hill, going to have a look at the windmill grass because it's cool, good to see it. Climb on up there, get into it, get this tower serviced and running, and then, because I promised you the cave, I will go have a look at the cave and also bring up the little identification on a little bit of grass here. We've got our offsets there. And yeah, carry on with the day. Yes, also the disappointing thing this morning, when I got to jump up and I was on my way out here, well, still on the road, I saw two dogs, and I thought, yes, I'll be able to grab them, but they were gone. They were bolting from about 500 meters out, and I had the half thought, I could just jump out of the vehicle, load up, go start tracking them and get them, but this morning I want to get this tower going first. So it looks like those baits only got one of the dogs. It was another two that we saw earlier that drove us to getting out there and putting the baits. They're still going, but the other one appears to be gone. So also this morning, I've left the Starlink Mini on. It's running off a Milwaukee battery. I can just set her up to run off the solar output load side, but I've got it set up and it's there mainly so if I've got a problem up there, I can walk out to the ledge, turn the Wi-Fi on, and, well, not even turn the Wi-Fi on, jump on my phone, and then, make any of the changes to the other part of the remote network. So we are a bit of a distance from the vehicle, and I've got 3 bars of Wi-Fi there. So it's probably running on the 2.4. No, it's definitely running on the 5 gigahertz, which from all the way down there is pretty cool. We've found that the Starlink Mini has got a very, very good range. So with that range comes a whole lot of potential, like especially since it's its own standalone unit. It's awesome having that range, but what it will mean is if you're traveling in a group of vehicles or a group of people, you can have the one Wi-Fi and, you know, over a pretty decent distance. Granted, I am above it, not, you know, in a line in a convoy or anything, but it's still there. So that's a big bonus. The issue I had yesterday when I was finishing off was I had this plug up here and I was going to plug it into that, and I dropped it and I touched it onto that positive there. These plugs are negative on the outside, so that short circuited and it killed that little voltage regulator. So it's a 12 to 24 volt. And to be sure, I'm just removing the whole regulator, putting a new one in, and we're going to plug it in. Whew, right, so she's underway. It turns out that the issue was the little power plug itself, and then it was just that it, I don't know, internally wasn't connected properly. So I've just daisy chained it to another DC plug because I didn't bring any screw connectors up, and I've taped that off so it's isolated. So she's booted up and you can't see my phone, but it went out to 11 watts. Yeah, 9, 11 watts, that sort of thing as the load. So I'm just, well, it's picked up Wi-Fi. We'll see which Wi-Fi it's connected to. Connected to Verety without internet. Cool. We'll open up UISP because this type will allow you to join without the main network connected. And yeah, I'm just gonna find out if they're aligned and if she's all good. Right, so I'm gonna shut this box up and everything while we see if we've got alignment for the network. Should have looked at this last night and remembered to bring one of those stickers that Adam made up for me, the you know, caution authorised personnel only. And Adam is A&M Colour Corrections and Signage. He's where you get your merch for Jack Out the Back. So we've got stickers there, we've got caps, and yeah, we're only running a little bit of merch, but that's how it is. But yeah, if you want to support the channel and support some of the things that we feel strongly about, like School of the Air, and then also proper representation for regional people and people that need the tools for the jobs like we do, yeah, check out that merch, A&M Colour Corrections and Signage. The link is somewhere around here. Rightio, so the access point, the feed in, she's all connected, nice and sweet, well tuned, and has more capacity than it could possibly need. And the sector antenna, so the lap GPS, I did a factory reset on it because it was being a little bit silly and the password wasn't working. So I've reconfigured that and I'm doing a firmware update on it. I've set all the network settings the same as down the hill. So the Joey Jarrah one should be able to connect straight to the network and come straight back on. If it doesn't, I'm probably going to pop down there and do a reset on that one as well, because the password also isn't working there, which is a little frustrating. When you change phones and it doesn't copy the keychain over, it's a bit painful. But before I disappear from up here and carry all my stuff down the hill, I promised you the cave. So let's head over there and see if we can find it. Yeah, these things are pretty impressive up on these breakaways. And that is a pretty sheer face just there, and it is quite the way down. Now down here, this is pretty cool. I'm gonna see how I go getting you close enough to have a look at these bird perches. But they're down there. So I'll get the camera closer. Alrighty, let's get down into the shadow so it's a little easier. Whole load of growth down there, which is pretty cool. And you can see these little perches where you've got all of the indicators that they camp up. So you've got all of that, all the bird guano running down the wall. So these things have used these sites for a very, very long time. Safe looking little spot. looks like I'm going to be going out the other way, but you can see why the little Euros love it in here. So I'm starting to suspect what looked like a cave from down there was a bit of a trick of the light on some of these little valleys up the top there. I've had a walk through there, it's very impressive, but the only little caves I've found have been the ones that the birds are in. So they're a lot smaller than I thought I was looking at. But I'll go back up to the tower around this side of the hill, climb up, just in case I had the angle wrong. And yeah, keep ticking through, then get back onto the job. Well, that's a very small cave. But looking at the shape that this comes out, if I go around the other side, well, yeah, I reckon if we have a look at the angle from the shot earlier and the one now, this probably is the little cave we saw from down there. You might be a few degrees off, but I reckon that it is at a good guess. Not a bad spot like this morning. I know you're out of the sun, but in the afternoon, yeah, you'd be copping it. Be better in one of those little valleys. Right, time to click back into gear and carry some things down a hill. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up this tower. So I'm going to put the camera away while I climb down, so I've got all hands free. All right, I'll check in later on, and yeah, well, I'll check in later on. A quick scramble up the tower, push a pin in to reset it, reconfigured it, and bang, on the network, happy days. Camera's reporting in. I've done the update on the Bluetooth, on the charge controller. So we're happy, we're all good. The camera's reporting in nice and crisp. So yeah, not too bad. Good start to the day. Yeah, that's kind of it. I'm just going to drive home via Rock and Roll, and I might just check why that one's not clicking on all the time. I'll just have a quick glance at it and yeah, be on my way. No, we look good. Oh, and yeah, it's Verity's birthday today. So happy birthday, big kid. We'll yeah, we'll have some cake when I get home. Okay, so Rock and Roll. Let's find out why it's not playing the game. Kicked in or stopped working around the time of the big drop of rain. So I'm suspecting we've probably had something to do with water messing with it. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. It doesn't appear to have had any water come into it because we've got all of our silicon there still. But it's a Renogy battery. Well, that explains everything. That battery's probably dead. And the relay's off because it's low voltage, but that'll be because this thing's cactus. Okay, well, there's not much to look up in there. So I may as well have a look at the Victron Connect. Go in. And there we go. Right, so that's easy. I know that it's dead, and I just need to bring in a new battery. So just need to whip down with another 12-volt battery, and now I'm changing over, with these bigger units because I can, going to the 100 amp hour 12-volt lithiums, which are cheaper than the 50s. So that'll just be something I pop down and do later on or whenever I feel like it. But that's another Renogy battery dead. Don't buy them. They're expensive for what they are, and they do not last as long as the EcoFlow batteries or any of the other ones. So I'm using Gentrax batteries now. So, oh well, that's what we learn. Right, before I actually go, I'll point out something that is kind of interesting here. I've opened the yard up so that the cattle have zero resistance coming in and out, and it's just because we've got a clay pan over there that's got water in it. The cattle are still coming in. What is quite interesting is that gate is open, so they can go in, out, in, out. No worries. But over here, the out gate that the lovely cows are well trained on is still getting used. So they're coming in through the wide open gate, and it's just such a habit for them that they go out that way, which I think is pretty cool. And over here at the other end gate, there is someone who is still using it. So yeah, good habits, good cows. All right, thanks very much for joining me today on this up and down sort of a day I had, or episode I've had. And yeah, hope you've enjoyed watching me sweat, going up and down that thing, carrying some heavy things, and yeah, in general, having a good time. But she's up and running. I've put Rock and Roll here basically to run just on like daylight hours, so the charge controller is just delivering voltage that the power regulators, voltage regulators can use. So until I pop down here, this will keep running just on daylight. And yeah, it's not a long drive, so it will not take long to have it up and reporting again. And a massive thank you to everyone who has, liked, subscribed, all of this, but especially to those who have contributed to the Drones for Dromedaries program, which I'm going to be going more into some of the applications that we could have with a drone, and yeah, the difference it could make. And yeah, will be pretty cool to see that project go off, and I've touched base with a few companies to see what we can sort out. Right, cheers everyone, and enjoy.